All right, everybody, welcome to the Studying Brew, episode 1073 on this beautiful evening. It is Thursday evening. It is the last Studying Brew of the week because we don't do it on Friday, Saturday, or Sunday, but we are going to be back on Monday. But tonight is Thursday, so we are definitely going to have something for you tonight. Tonight, we're going to have a little bit of techniques. We're going to have a little bit of content. It's going to be a lot of fun. My name is Andy. I run the back office over at KonaButterflyz. But you're not here for me. You're here for Brandy. She's got her Series 6, 63, 26, 65, and her Series 7, which makes her more than qualified to teach you all the things you need to know. So that way you too can get a pass notice. And that's what we're talking about, as always, on the Studying Brew. We're talking about getting a pass notice. We're talking about raising those scores. We're talking about getting this thing going so that way you can elevate and get into the next level. Oddly enough, we're already in April. Where's the month gone? Where's the year gone? And look, guys, if you keep procrastinating, if you keep waiting on it, if you keep saying I'm gonna wait for the perfect moment, it's gonna go past you at lightning speed. You know what I mean? It's just everybody keeps going. Have you ever noticed like sometimes like you go, man, if I would have saved $1 a day for the last 2 years, I would have. And then you think about the amount, right? But when you think about that amount, when you were like thinking about it, you're like, wow, that's a lot of money. I don't know. But if you think about it, if you go little by little, $1 a day, right? An hour a day, 2 hours a day, it starts to build up. It starts to accumulate. It starts to get momentum. You start to get steam. You start to get like from a little tiny snowflake to a snowball to a snowball to a huge rolling avalanche. You know what I mean? And it can happen just like that. But it takes you to be consistent. It takes you to where you have to do this even when you don't feel like doing it. Oh, this sucks. It's boring. Oh, this is the worst. I barely can do it. I don't know if I want to get up in the morning and watch some videos. I don't know if I want to get in there and take some notes. I don't know if I want to do what Brandy said and said break down those quizzes. I don't know if I want to watch that latest KonaButterflyz video and it tells you how to raise your scores by analyzing your quizzes and goes through a whole strategy on how to learn our on how to take a test and all the things about OEMs and all this other stuff. Why would I want to do that? Look, guys, you guys spend way more time trying to get out of it. You find way more ways to negotiate around it. You try to go look for that. I say you're not even looking, you're shopping. Most of you are shopping for the answers that you want to hear instead of the ones that you need to hear and what you need to do because it's uncomfortable, it sucks, it's boring. See all that negativity, all that stuff, it just builds up. And then it gets to that point where you guys got anxiety. And then some of you have to get this thing done where the pressure's on. And I just saw a great quote. I just read a great quote, and I'm just going to say it before I forget it. Pressure is one of the most misused vocabulary words in the dictionary. Because if you're thinking about pressure, you're already thinking about failure. Tommy Lasorda. Boom. But think about it. The reason why we have pressure as a negative and we put all that anxiety on it is because we're thinking about failure. Here at Kona, we always talk about positive mental attitude. I'm not talking about delusional positivity. I'm talking about keeping your positive mental attitude. Far too many times do we think, oh, what happens if I fail? I don't know how many times I've been asked or Brandy's been asked, oh, well, what happens if I fail after the third time? Oh, what happens if I failed on this next time? Or what happens if I fail on? Why are you focused on the fail and not on the pass? Why are you so focused on why am I not learning this? Why am I not getting this? Why is this not easy for me? Why is it, guys? That is the wrong mindset. You ever noticed how panic you feel, how much the anxiety takes over, and you start questioning everything when you go down that road? How you're not sure of anything, even the things that you should be sure of. It makes you question everything. It's cancerous, man. Negativity is cancerous. It is a magnetic attraction to more negativity, which attracts the big dark cloud over you, and then it just starts to rain and pour. And then You don't want to become one of those people who has that victim vocabulary with that victim mentality. Everything doesn't work out for me. It's just the way it always has been for me with tests. I know I've never been a good test taker. That's why I dropped out of school. That's why I don't do good at this. That's why I decided I didn't go to college. That's why my teacher says I suck. Like it just goes on and on and on and on. You got to stop that. You got to stick to it. You got to realize you're going to learn something new. No one's born knowing this stuff. No one's born knowing all the things you need to know, just like no one is born walking out of the womb. No one is no one has ever learned how to properly do anything by watching one or two YouTube videos on any given thing. We all screw it up. We all make mistakes. We all fall down. Even when you rode a bicycle, you fell down a million times, right? At least back in my day, right? Back in my day, you didn't even get a helmet. They just sent your ass right down the driveway, full into traffic. Hope he stops. Watch out for that car. Guess what? Some of us did, some of us didn't make it, right? No, but it's true.
It's true.
It's totally true. But you learn. You learn one way or another. Sometimes we have this culture now that like failure, we try to avoid it like there's a vaccine for failure. Like we there's some magical shot of something that stops you from failing. There kind of is. It's called doing nothing. It's called doing nothing. People who do nothing, they don't really fail at anything because they're not doing anything. And then one could say that is the failure. The failure to do. You don't really fail until you stop trying. You don't really fail until you fail to do anything. That's when you fail because the paper says it, because your quiz scores aren't there, because whatever someone told you, that's not failure. It's the failure to when you stop, when you quit, when you don't try anymore, that's failing. So if you're feeling like this weekend or this week that you want to not do it, or you're thinking about, or this is not for me, or maybe I'm giving up, or maybe I don't know, I'm too old. By the way, if you say that, we have a pastor who's 85. So if you're older than 85, you can tell me that maybe, and I might believe it. But other than that, if you're younger than the age of 85, shut up. I'm just going to say it like that. Just shut up. You're not that old. You're not that old. It's all mental. Stop it. So what? You got to do a couple extra things. So what? You got to do a couple, more flashcards. So what? But I'll say this, old timer, you got way more experience than these youngsters. You got way more knowledge and vocabulary than you think. You have way more world experience that'll help you pass this exam than you think. You are just bypassing all that you know because you are in that negative mindset of thinking that you're too old to learn something instead of looking at the stuff you already know and applying it. So if you are that person, whether you're young or old, tonight is going to be a great one because tonight we are going to show you how to get answers with some of that knowledge without even knowing the content, without even knowing some of the stuff that is in the studying. We're going to show you that sometimes you have some easy layups that you didn't even know existed because you're overthinking it. You're overstressing and you're just missing the obvious. So that's going to be helpful tonight because we're going to show you how to do that. And we're going to throw a little bit of content in there. Don't get me wrong, but we're going to show you how simple that you can make this experience as we go through 6 different questions tonight. We're going to have 6 different answers. Brandy's going to give a little bit of content. She's going to give you some answers. So as she goes through that, I want you to have that positive mental attitude as you're learning this new skill set, as you're applying it this weekend when you're not on the Studying Brew, or maybe you're elbows deep in excuses, weekend excuses as to why you didn't study. We're going to turn that around this weekend, right? We're going to turn it around. We're going to get this stuff done in the morning. We're going to get this stuff done early, and we're going to apply some of these new skill sets that you're going to learn tonight. And if you haven't joined KonaButterflyz, and if you haven't gone on to the program, there is no better time to do it than now because we are starting the month of April. And some people are like, well, I'm waiting for your day one. Day one's today if you want. It could be in the next hour if you really want to do it because all of our content is on demand. We don't focus on just the content. We focus on application. That's what those live sessions are. We do exam specific exam mastery. Like tomorrow, we're doing all exams. So, kind of like if you like tonight and you want to know more about how to do that, that's what we're going to do tomorrow. We're going to do that tomorrow with a series 26. We'll go over the schedule, but we're going to really dive into how to do that for all exams. Guys, this stuff that we teach, we do this and teach this to our kids who are in high school who are doing multiple choice exams. We give them that edge so that way they can do good on their tests. Guys, these tests, you can take advantage of some stuff. You can make this easier. So we show you how to apply that. So it's not just content with us. We teach you exam mastery. So if you haven't joined up with us, you get the course videos, the live exam masteries, you get all that access over there on the left, the small group tutoring available in some options, and same as the one-on-one tutoring. So just check it out. We also have books for sale for the SIE, the 6, 63, and the 65. The SIE and the 65 are interactive. If you're a member, you can play some videos that have explanations in there. We also got something for the 26 as well. We have the Kona community. Thank you to all the people who've been posting over there. We just had a passer, or not a passer. We just had a student was talking about her experience. Are you going to go ahead and read that off?
Yes. So if you remember, we call our test taking skills OAMS, OAMS. Okay, so I have to back that up. Okay. She said, just did OAMS for the first time in a quiz on products and risks. I scored a 30% on it this morning because I've been struggling to understand it. Just made an 80% on the quiz using OAMS. What a game changer. Guys, that's a 50% increase.
From the morning, from basically scored low at breakfast time,
yes.
Dinner time scoring 50% higher.
What the heck, man? What the heck? This is a example. This is a sample of the OAMS. That's what we're going to do tonight.
Exactly. Pay attention, guys. It can be a game changer for you if you allow it to happen. 951-290-3077. Give us a call, give us a text over there. Also, I have that email, KonaButterflyz@gmail.com, if you like that. You can also check out other people's, you can check out the Kona Hall of Fame. You can check out people with their pass notices, what helped them pass. You can go read through it. You can also see people who have passed multiple exams with us, because that's the system that we teach: multiple exam passing, not just one. We're going to pass all of them. Right?
Yes.
All right. What's the schedule for tomorrow, Brandy? Tomorrow we got a change. If you were with us in the winter, we have a change. So this is Friday, the first change, first Friday with this new change. We have the series 26 tomorrow, so take note of that. That is at noon. But we start off the day with a nice Kona study hall. So what that is you log on and you simply do your work with Brandy on in the background. You do your quiz, you go through the video, whatever it is. And what an awesome way, if you run into something that you need a question answered, Brandy's right there to answer it, as if you were in a classroom sitting at your little desk back in the day. And you raise your hand, you're like, hey, teacher, don't understand this. Can you go over this? And she's like, yeah, actually I can. And that's what we do in the study hall. So that way you can get that study hall on with your teacher, accessible, ready to answer those questions. Then we have the Kona exam mastery right after that thing that I was telling you about, how we get that possible breakfast to dinner 50% increased, right? Yes. That's where we learn that. And you can start learning that skill set and on that session. Those are recorded. The Kona exam mastery is recorded. That will be out later that day. So Kona exam mastery will be recorded and will be out later. So if you can't make it, that will be recorded. 26 live is not recorded. So we'd like you to be there. So join that, and we'll be going over specific exam mastery tricks and techniques and tips to pass the 26. So those going for that principal license, be there. That is the change. So make sure you took note of that. If you haven't gotten the Series 65 book, it is out. Someone actually said today, hey, Brandy, I'll reach back out when you get that book finally done. She's like, bro, been out for a while. So if you haven't gotten your copy yet, check that, scan that QR code, get your Series 65 book. It'll make life easier, literally making it from a cajillion pages from everybody else to 140 pages of simply just the Kona way of learning.
Yes.
All right. You ready to get going?
Yes.
Let's go. I don't think I forgot anything. Did I forget anything?
I don't think so.
Okay. All right. Well, let's get on it.
All right.
Series 6. This is the Series 6. We're going to go over 6 different questions, 6 different answers, 6 different exams. Guys, it doesn't matter what exam it comes from. So if we don't tell you, that's fine. It doesn't really matter what exam it comes from because it doesn't matter. It's irrelevant, as I tell you guys all the time. So watch how Brandy breaks these things down. Watch how little content. Watch how you just need a little bit of that technique, and you just get the answer right. So answers first,
Yep.
questions last.
Yes.
All right, let's go.
Yeah.
It's my new shirt.
Yes.
Answers first, questions last.
Yes. All right. So I have the secondary market, I have the electronic communication network, I have dealer to dealer market, and then I have primary market. So I didn't notice this until just now, but I have the secondary and the primary. These are opposite of each other.
Yeah, and Jenin did note, in techniques we talk about things that stick out. Like, yeah, C does have some like no has dashes, right?
Mm-hmm.
And usually that would be a little, hint,
something.
maybe a signal to pay attention to. But in this case, remember when we have something like opposites or something like primary to secondary, which are very similar, 1, 2. Yeah. That's what it's probably going to be one of those.
Yes. Yes. So I was like, all right, let me look at that question. And it says new security offerings are sold in the. So you guys know that when you're a new kid in school for the first time, your kindergarten or your transitional kindergarten, you go to primary school.
Right. New, first owner, new car, right? All prime, all first.
Yes.
Yeah. Don't overthink that.
No, don't overthink it. I was looking at, I still always try to answer questions without content first. I try to go in with my kindergarten is primary school.
Look, and look, guys, when we talk about techniques and answering it that way, it's not that because Brandy doesn't know the content. It's not like she doesn't know why that is or how that is. It's because these kinds of like tips and tricks are probably the ones that you're going to remember when you're in the exam and you need to not question it. So when you see something that says new securities are sold in, your brain should automatically click primary.
Boom.
No matter how the answers are worded, no matter how the question is worded, you need to just make that connection, new to primary.
Boom.
That's just it.
Like that. Yep. Just bye. All right. Churning, front running, a riskless principal transaction. Huh? And then normal business activity.
Riskless, is anything riskless?
I don't know.
Not in securities
world.
Like,
that's weird. It's just weird. Like I'm sure there might be something, but it's weird.
Yeah.
Front running, normal business activity, and churning. So I looked at the question. I was like,
D seems like the most normal thing.
Right, it does. Registered rep is aware of non-public information regarding an impending block sale in a security and decides to sell the stock from any account in which he has discretion. So the huge hint there, huge hint is the fact that it's non-public, first of all.
So,
and it's impending, which means future.
It hasn't even happened yet.
Correct.
So it's not churning. So
no.
I can mark that off because that doesn't sound like we're folding anything.
Right.
It doesn't sound like that weird riskless principal transaction.
Yeah, what is that?
Don't know what that is.
Yeah.
It definitely doesn't sound like a normal business activity that you should be doing because you just got information and it's impending.
Right.
That's not normal.
Right.
So based on all of that and the fact that front running sounds like you kind of cut in line in front of everybody.
Right.
I would say P. And that is Andy's way of breaking it down with no securities.
And you guys see the colors that I use.
And you hear the logic.
Oops, sorry. And this right here, this last little piece right here, discretion. This is like an extra hint, but it's like a cool hint. It's like a bonus hint, I guess I should say.
Right. It means all the ones he's allowed to do stuff with.
It means that the client doesn't have to give prior approval before he does it.
Yep.
He could just go trade in there. I always like to think of these like the movies, right? Where the agent is just trading in the account without the client's prior approval. They get the statement, but
yeah. I mean, they'll know that something happened, but they didn't approve it.
Right.
They already gave the discretion.
Right. They just said, hey, do what you need to.
Right.
I gave you my information. Do what you got to. All right.
Risky behavior when it comes to your haircut, though.
Yeah, don't. Okay, so
tattoos.
Okay, so I thought A was kind of weird. Because it's like the home office of the broker dealer. Does that mean like their home, or does that mean like HQ? I didn't know, but I just maybe it's just HQ, like headquarters. I don't know. The Office of Supervisory Jurisdiction, it's regional compliance office, and then each branch office, right? So all I'm doing really is just kind of like looking at like what these could possibly be, right? Just keywords in this, right?
So when you see the question, you're looking for something maybe specific as a branch, or maybe something talks about compliance. If you see something about supervisory, you're looking for that connection in the question.
Yes.
When you see it.
Yeah. And those are the words that I underlined. Well, maybe this one, which is the ones that are going to kind of tip the scales for me.
Right.
Does that make sense? Tip the scales in those directions. It says for any customer complaint it receives, a member firm must keep a file at. So I was like, okay, somebody is going to complain about my agent. I feel like that's a supervisory situation.
Yes.
But let me make it a little bit more clear. So I like to do my highlighters, right? So for each customer complaints must keep the file with the supervisor. And just like somebody said in the chat, it's the only one that kind of says the office of, you know? I know that D says branch office, but like the office of supervisors.
Supervisors keep track of your complaints, don't they? If you've ever worked anywhere, usually the supervisor has all your good things you did and all the bad things you did.
Exactly.
And then they have to keep track of it all.
Exactly.
Don't overthink it.
Don't overthink it. But I've never heard of Office of Supervisory Jurisdiction, but we've heard of the word supervisor.
Right.
We've heard it.
Right.
Right. All right. Trade deficit, balance of payments, trade surplus, exchange rates. So I was looking at like
A and C are opposites.
These are opposite and also very specific. Right?
Yep.
Because it's trade deficit, which is out, trade surplus, which is in, right? And then I have the exchange rate, and then I have the balance.
Or simply trade deficit means we don't have a lot, we owe a lot. Deficits, right?
Yes.
Surplus, we have a lot of it.
Yes, exactly. So when I read the question, what measure tracks all of the money in the economy due to imports, exports, and investments. So I was looking at this. Trade deficits and trade surplus would just look at imports and exports, right?
It's only one side of the coin.
But even, yeah. And if you look in the question, how can I pick one deficit or surplus when imports and exports are both? Does that make sense? Get out of here. I don't know, right? And then it says money. It says money. So when I see money, I think of payments.
Yeah. I also think of balance between the trade balance of the ins and the outs, the imports and the exports.
You see it?
Yeah. I mean, it almost said pick me.
It did. If you saw the money. Show me.
So like before, like we said, the 90% of the time it is the opposites. And some of you are going, well, they said the opposites and then 90% of the time. Sometimes you just got to read the question and see what it's going to ask you.
At least it got you started.
It got you started.
It got you started. But how can you measure specific deficit or surplus based on the question? You can't. But it got you started. Okay.
That was a keyword situation.
I needed to do this one the traditional way. And this was based on somebody that said, I'm always messing up on suitability because I look at the question and what I think it should be is never in the answer. So this is a great question for that, to practice that.
Not doing answers first today. No. After I just revealed my shirt idea.
I know, but look, every one of them is the answers first.
Typical wife move, classic.
I know. But I wanted to show you. I wanted to show you how this works and why we do answers first. So an investor who has a portion of her portfolio invested in foreign corporations is subject to which additional risk? Now, if you've been with Kona for a while, we usually pull a risk question, and we've always related foreign with currency risk. I can see what you did there. Sovereign, for the person who put it in the chat, is specific foreign country debts. So that's specific. But we usually look at foreign and we usually say it's currency risk, right? So you're doing your questions, you see the foreign, you go, currency risk, right? And then you look at your answer choices and guess what?
It's not there.
It's not there. I've got opportunity, I've got market, I've got liquidity, I've got exchange rate. Let me go back into the question. Perhaps there's something I missed, right? And now you just did double the work.
Yeah.
But you're not wrong with currency risk, because you guys want to know why?
Exchange rate.
Yes. Currency is the same thing as saying an exchange rate.
For all my friends that have been to Mexico or Canada, right?
Yeah.
We know how that works.
Exactly.
You better know your exchange rate or you're going to be paying double.
But do you guys see how, like, that's, if this is not a classic example of why we do answers first, I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is.
There you go.
Okay. All right. I think this is the last one. All right. So I tried to play the Mona game. If you guys have been on, we're on Tuesday, we talked about Mona being must, only, never, always, right? And I saw must, 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 must.
Do you know what I also see though? I see 3 plans and one that doesn't have a plan in the beginning, because I mean I see it buried there, but yeah. I mean, I know it says it, but you get what I say.
Yeah. Is there an and in here? Oh yeah, there is an and right
Yeah.
Okay. So then I said, okay, this is not going to work. I got to look at the other words on the screen.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah. All 4 musts are there, so that doesn't work. All 4 of them have plans somewhere in there, even though B's a little weird.
Right. So it says there is an and. So it says the plan must cover regulatory reporting in an emergency. I don't know about this, but this sounds good. Doesn't that sound good? Must cover that in an emergency.
Yeah, you should have that there.
That sounds good. I like that. Description of the plan must be made available to customers. Well, given that we're coming off of, 5 years ago, we did have a complete shutdown.
Yes.
Right? There was in fact a time.
Yes.
Where this would have been necessary.
Right.
Recently. So I feel like that's legit. Plan must be filed with FINRA. I don't know, maybe. But it says, D says the plan must cover backing up and restoring data. Okay, that's legit. Like, I don't lose my data, right?
Yeah.
So which one is the weakest of all of them?
Unless it's the IRS, you guys can lose it.
Yeah, IRS, you can lose it. So which is the weakest of all of them? Filing it.
C is weak.
So I'm going to say this is the weakest of all answer choices.
Yes.
Because A, B, and D sound legit. So we look at the question, boom, boom, and there's our accept big capital, not like that on the exams. FINRA's requirement for maintaining a written business continuity plan includes all the following except the weakest one.
So this is a perfect example of like the techniques where you saw the must and it doesn't work.
Correct.
So, okay, so let's do another one. And I pointed out the plan thing where, okay, B's, oh wait, B's a little, it still has it in there. There's a plan in there. Okay, well, all right, let's try the and one. Oh, okay, no, I don't know about that. Let's go through it. Let's map it out.
Let's just map it out. Let's
just go through the answers one by one and see what makes sense.
Yeah. That's it.
And there you go.
C is also the shortest.
It is.
Yeah.
But mapping it out sometimes, reasoning it out, that logic. And remember what I said in the beginning when I said, you whippersnappers, and those what did I say the other one was? Yeah, I know you weren't paying attention. The older folk, listen, there's some experience that you can use in that situation to answer that. That wasn't really content related. It's just going through it and going, you know what? That makes the most sense why that would be the weakest one. Who cares about, like, that is, out of all the things on there, that one is probably the one that probably is not as important as the other 3. Just out of common sense, just logically, just going through it. But that's why we look at answers first, because if you did the question first, you probably would have got confused. You probably would have spent way more time on that question. And guys, this is a timed exam. Always remember this is a timed exam. And if you have an easier way to work the logic and get through it, so that way you can get a little bit of an easier way of getting through it, like in this case, a process of elimination in this one, then work it. The other ones didn't really need a process of elimination right off the bat because we had other techniques. But you got to go through your kind of like your, your arsenal of strategy and your techniques as you approach them, and then it'll help you make it a little easier and not overcomplicate it. It'll have a fresh look at these questions that are much easier. So as you're working it this weekend, be consistent, don't stop, and don't be afraid to fail at something that you're trying and you're doing, because failure only happens when you're not. So all of you guys are winning when you do it every day and you stay consistent and you're making that effort to get this thing done. That is where you're winning. All right. So we don't have Studying Brew tomorrow night. We will have the members only sessions tomorrow, and then we'll be back for the Studying Brew on Monday. Same bat time, same bat channel. Until then, everybody, stay safe out there. Wash your hands. Don't touch your face. Don't touch your friend's face. That's all I know. Keep the positive mental attitude. PMA, everybody. Have a great night.
Thank you all so much for being on. We so super appreciate you. Practice these techniques in your quizzes tonight and through the weekend. We will see you guys next time. Have a great one.